Swipe Up, episode 236, the podcast where I share my unfiltered thoughts on the latest news and entertainment updates. I am your host, Ray Taylor. Study of Tear Gas Tuesday finds Portland police deployed gas well above harmful levels. A study by Forensic Architecture looked at the chemical concentrations in Portland during the quote-unquote Tear Gas Tuesday protest on June 2nd, 2020, the George Floyd protest, the protest against police brutality. The researchers found that Portland police deployed so much tear gas that concentrations in the air reached thousands of times above safe levels. Thousands of times above safe levels. Forensic Architecture used video, news reports, public records, and statements from people on the ground to map out where tear gas was deployed through the city and when. At least 138 chemical munitions were used across 25 blocks. 25 blocks over the course of roughly 3.5 hours. And concentrations of the CS reached up to 67 milligrams per meter cubed. The Federal Health and Safety Administration considers that 2 milligrams per meter cubed is immediately dangerous to life or health. 67 milligrams versus 2. The police are terrorists who use chemical warfare not allowed in actual war. Yet it's used on citizens protesting police brutality. How much clearer can the evidence be? Human life is not valued whatsoever in this country. Some locations would have had concentrations far above safety levels for a total of 73 minutes. And in many locations, concentrations were recorded above 100 milligrams per meter cubed. That's 100 milligrams versus 2 milligrams. 2 is the unhealthy, dangerous, life-threatening level, and now we're at 100 milligrams. The highest recorded concentration was 4,500 milligrams per meter cubed, more than 2,000 times the limit considered life-threatening. That's 4,500 milligrams versus 2 milligrams. 2 is life-threatening. 4,500 milligrams. And there's people that want to back the blue. People want to support this organization that is putting out over 2,000 times the lethal amount of gas against citizens. There's what these people do, people that back the blue, they back inhuman behavior. They back evil people, right? Any Christian who supports the police supports some of the most evil behavior. If you believe in the devil, the police are doing the work of the devil. The chemicals in the air washed into the Willamette River, threatening marine life and farmland. They use so much toxic gas that it became an environmental issue. The report raises concerns about the potential long-term health effects of the excessive use of tear gas on protesters and bystanders. By the way, that gas doesn't just affect the people who are on the streets protesting. It affects all of the people who just lived in the city. So they gassed the city. With concentrations, they have no idea what the repercussions are going to be down the road. It is absolutely disgusting. Tear gas is banned from war, but not banned for use by law enforcement internationally. It's insane. We treat our enemies in war with more respect than non-violent protesters. At the time, Portland Police Bureau was not required to track how many munitions it stockpiled or used. Zero accountability. Something that the Portland City Council mandated later, right? And who knows how they're going to audit and keep up with that. But that's what these people, these massive budgets, no oversight, no regulation, nothing. We're just going to do whatever you want. Yeah, you want to kill people. You want to gas. You want to do things that are not allowed in war to the citizens, to the people that are responsible for paying your salary. Sure. As long as it doesn't cut into profits. And the police do everything in their power to hide crimes, right? What criminal organization is openly going to be like critical about their treatment of what they consider to be the enemy? It is just absolute. There needs to be like legitimate oversight of the communities of these police departments. And these police need to be like held to a standard and treated as criminals when they commit crimes. Like the transportation of the police department is as transparent as a brick wall. And when something does come out, they do everything to protect each other, right? They cover up all kinds of things, cover up evidence. And that's not only in the police departments, but that's even in the DA's office, right? They all protect each other because it just makes them look bad. They don't want to look bad, right? Anybody that doesn't do that, they consider to be soft on crime, right? That's the way they insult somebody who's willing to hold police accountable. Oh, okay, well then they're soft on crime. They're willing to charge a police officer with murdering somebody after they murder somebody, then they must be soft on crime. They don't want people out policing the streets. Not that the police actually stop crime or prevent crime or solve crimes. Most of the time they commit crimes. If good cops existed, then bad cops wouldn't exist. Imagine working at a store and one of your employees kills somebody, right? You have a bad apple in your store, somebody who kills somebody. Pretty impossible to keep. Like, everybody would know if Johnny killed somebody at work. Like, oh shit, Johnny killed somebody at his shift last night at McDonald's. Oh no. Let's cover that up, right? It'd be so easy to spot the criminals. Especially if you're a cop, isn't that your job? You can't spot the criminals that you are co-workers with, and you're supposed to be able to go out into normal society and spot the criminals? It's bullshit. If anything, if good cops did exist, if the majority of cops were good cops, then it would be so effortless for them to spot the bad cops and to eradicate them from the system. But that is the complete opposite of what happens. Because if good cops existed, bad cops wouldn't. And when a good cop does show himself, they end up getting transferred or killed. There's so many instances of how police departments eradicate good cops. And if good cops existed, they wouldn't be using chemical warfare against citizens. They wouldn't be beating citizens. They wouldn't be shooting citizens. They wouldn't be ramming people with their vehicles. It'd be so easy to identify a bad cop if there were majority good cops. But good cops don't exist. That's why this happens and continues to happen. In my opinion, they're a criminal organization. They use chemical warfare that wouldn't be allowed in war. The night began with peaceful demonstrations, but clashes between the law enforcement officers and small groups of rioters became more and more intense as the night went on. Those who rioted during the protests included right-wing groups that with the intention to incite violence and destroy property. Most people that were found responsible for starting a lot of the fires, people arrested for property damage, were members of right-wing extremist groups like the Proud Boys, among many others. Right? Oh, let's go make this group who's peacefully protesting, right? You go on social media, you see what these peaceful protesters are. They're singing, holding signs. And then you see police instigate. You see police pushing back. And then all of the people who are doing the damage, they're very good about dressing themselves up. But look, do your own research. There's a bunch of right-wing people who are out amongst the actual peaceful protesters, but the right-wing people causing the damage, provoking violence, right? Giving the police an excuse to be violent. Eventually, the night devolved into an all-out battle. The Portland police and the people the police were attacking, with the police indiscriminately deploying tear gas against the protesters. The study sheds light on how much tear gas was used during the summer of 2020 protests in Portland, which were sparked by the murder of George Floyd. The protest calls for greater oversight and accountability for law enforcement's use of tear gas and other crowd control tactics. It should be a complete ban on things that aren't acceptable at war. Like, maybe we should treat our citizens with the same level of respect that we treat our enemies at war. Maybe at least the same respect. I would like more, but even equal respect to our enemies at war would be an improvement in this country. Right? And that's not what happens, right? There's no actual defunding of police. It's police budgets going up. That's it. Doesn't matter who's president. Police budgets going up, going up. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Swipe Up. I hope you enjoyed my thoughts and insights on the latest news and entertainment updates. Please join the conversation by leaving a comment or rating on your favorite podcast platform or over on YouTube. I'll see you next Thursday for more unfiltered opinions and fresh perspectives. New episodes of The Ray Taylor Show come out every single day. Subscribe on YouTube and everywhere our podcasts are found. Binge the full week over at inspireddisorder.com/plus. Buy Ray Taylor Show merch over at inspireddisorder.com. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Peace out!
Today is the day where you wake up and you realize that everything that you've been dreaming about, everything that you've been wanting, every goal and wish and hope that you've ever had can become real. Dreams can come true. What you manifest in your mind, you can bring to reality.